We are live. This is the Thanksgiving week version of Brews and Bets. My name's Steve Ricciardi. With me, as always, is Ty Slice. Ty, how we doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm drinking some Canadian breakfast stout here from Founders. Ready to
Yeah,
get
I'm not
going.
as fancy, bro. I just got my same old fat tire, little Belgian style ale. So I'll go with this for tonight. But let's get into this card, Ty. We're not going to go through the whole card like we normally do. We just did that for the Quant Edge. And we really want to promote our Quant Edge content this week, partly because it's free, right? So we just did our Quant Edge podcast. So we'll send that along after this pod. And all you have to do on the Quant Edge is basically create a username, and based on that username, you can get all free content this week. So you'll get our free UFC content, you'll get the free NFL content. NBA content. Ty, you've used it. You said it's pretty good. The NBA content, you've really hit on some of those things.
Well, no, I've actually been using it for my football.
For the football, okay.
Yeah. I just pretty much look at all the articles that they have there, and then I could kind of balance my lineup and go with it. They actually have some really good football writers. I haven't used it too much for NBA yet, though.
Okay, but you are playing NBA on one of our sponsors, right?
Yeah, I've been killing it on Fantasy Factor playing NBA, which actually brings me to the next point. They actually have a $100,000 Thanksgiving NFL Squares office pool type game. If you sign up through our link, you get a free entry into that. So really, even if you're not going to deposit and play, try it out. Play the office pool game, and kind of kick back on, enjoy Thanksgiving football with a chance to win some money.
Definitely. So Ty, let's get into this card. There's a couple fights that we like here. I'm going to set you up for the first one. It's Louis Smolka, and we don't even know what the hell this guy's real name is. On best fight odds, it's Sumerje. On DraftKings, since we just did our DraftKings breakdown, it's Mujeri Su. So I have no idea what this guy's real name is, but you've watched a bunch of tape on him and you really like him. So tell us why we should play him here against Louis Smolka.
Yeah, so I think that he's a really fast fighter. He has some pretty dynamic kicks. He's actually going to come in this fight as the bigger fighter, not height wise, but I think the strength and just physical size. So really, Smolka's only chance to win this fight is to take this fight to the ground. And Samarjay, which on the TQE podcast, we probably said his name about 15 different ways during our breakdowns,
and we're not confident in any of those.
No, we're not confident on any of them. And Smolka's only chance to win is by taking him down, and he's demonstrated that he has really good takedown defense. One of the takedowns that one of the Russian competitors that he faced previously went to take him down, and Samarjay kind of got him in a crucifix type position and then used that to muscle his way into a scramble, stayed on his feet and didn't get taken down. It was really kind of a unique setup. And I just think that he's going to use his size and strength to just pick Smolka apart. And he might finish the fight, but I think that plus 170, you're getting really good value on him.
Yeah, it's worth a play. And again, our DraftKings content is free this week. So if you want to get the breakdown on all the fights, by all means, come on over and participate with that. All you got to do is create a username, and you get all the content for free for a week. And then, if you want to sign up after that week, pay attention to our Twitter feeds, but we usually tweet it out. It's Brews is one of the promo codes, or UFC, whatever you want to do. Ty, I got a fight in mind, but is there anything else here? Martin Day, Pingwan Liu, you like that? Kevin Holland, Phillips, any other fights that you like for a bet?
I don't like the odds on the Holland fight. I think that Holland wins easily. I just don't think that anything's playable. With Day and Liu, I think the fight goes to decision at minus 180 is interesting. I don't know if I'm going to play it, but if anything, that's the only thing that I'm going to play on that. Maybe Lou wins by decision -110, but
Okay.
nothing really that stands out between those two.
So the next fight that I know you have a pretty good lean, and you talked me into a pretty good lean is Rashard Coulter and Hu Yaizang. I'm sure I'm butchering that name, but Ty, you were talking earlier, and you do like a bet on Coulter. So why in this fight? These guys are both heavyweights coming down to 205. First fight at light heavyweight, but you're betting Coulter here.
Yeah, so I watched a good amount of fight footage from Hu Yazong, and the guy is just terrible. He's not a good fighter. He's decent on the ground. But his striking, he pretty much essentially blocks punches with his face. He's a really low volume puncher from distance, but when it closes in, he does like to brawl. And Coulter is training at Fortis MMA, and he recently spoke out about how he wanted to drop down weight, which he's doing in this fight. He looks great. We'll see how he looks on the scale, but from the interview, he looks like he's in a lot better shape. And he was talking about focusing on fighting smarter. He said that his last few fights, he was injured in his fights, and that he was more interested in being exciting for the UFC audience than actually putting together wins. So if he has the right coaches around him that are game planning, I think that he's going to be in a prime spot to beat a pretty terrible competitor. And right now, the odds are -135. And I think the only reason that they're that low is because Rashad Coulter's name is kind of a stigma in the mixed martial arts community. People think that he's a terrible fighter, which by rights, he's not the greatest, but he's fighting somebody that's way worse. And, it seems that Coulter's head's on right, and you're getting a really good value at -135. And I would just say jump on this line right now before it raises.
Yeah, and I'll even build on that. I think that Coulter, going into this fight without knowing the information that Ty just gave you, I thought that Coulter could get the knockout early. And again, if you look at his fight against De La Rocha, he really did a great job early of just kind of peppering him with punches. I thought he was going to get him out of there. And Ty had mentioned that he had an injury in that fight. He broke his hand, you mentioned?
Yeah, he broke his hand in the De La Rocha fight.
Yeah, and you could just tell going into that second round, he did gas, but he just stopped throwing punches. So I think he's in a great position here. And Yao Zhang, I think that's the way you say his name. He's just really bad. He's a bigger guy, but he's just really bad. I think Coulter's going to be able to get him here. So I do like that bet. No, now that Ty gave me that background information.
And one of the reasons why I said to jump on Coulter's line at -135 is because it recently just went down to -135. And if you look at the Coulter wins inside the distance prop, it's at -150 right now. So it hasn't even caught up to the line, which that either tells me that line's going to drop or the other one's going to raise. And I really don't think that you have to even worry. Just jump on the -135, enjoy your money on Saturday morning.
Definitely, 100%. The next fight, and I'm going to take this one because I have a pretty strong lean on this one. Alex Morono is -115 right now. I'm a big fan of him. I think he's better than Keenan Song everywhere. I think he's better on the feet. He's more aggressive on the feet. And he's a BJJ black belt from Gracie, and I think he's down in Texas. So he's one of the Gracie studios down in Texas. But I think he's just a better fighter here. And Morono wins inside distance is +371. The Morono by submission isn't out yet. I'm looking at the odds right now on Best Fight Odds. I wouldn't mind putting a quarter unit on Morono by submission here. I think Keenan Song, who was taken down twice by Hector Aldana, I think Morono can definitely get him down. And if he gets him down, he can work his BJJ on the ground. I think he's in a great position for a sub. Ty, what do you think?
Yeah, so we kind of broke this one down to a good bit on the TQE podcast. So definitely check that out since it's free this week. I kind of don't want to go into it too much here, but I am leaning towards Morono. I'm personally not going to be playing it, but I can understand if you are. I do think that he has the advantage in this fight pretty much everywhere this fight will take place, but it's just not something that I'm going to put money on.
All right, so Ty, let's go into these last 4 fights in the main card, and then we'll call it a day here. Jiang Li and David Zawada. What's your breakdown looking like for this?
Yeah, so I kind of think that Jiang Ling is gonna knock him out. I think that this is gonna be a finish either way. Either he's gonna knock him out, or Zawada's has a chance to pull the submission, which leads me to focus on the fight does not go to decision at plus 135. I kind of think that's a pretty good play, and I personally think that Jiang Ling is going to win by knockout, and so the inside the distance prop is plus 200, which is that's a pretty nice value that you're getting there. I kind of want to wait. I think that the other props should be coming out tomorrow. I'm going to see what the Jiang Ling by knockout prop bet is going to be. If it's somewhat close, I might jump on the does not go to decision and the wins inside the distance.
Yeah, and I'm kind of, since our DraftKings content is free this week, I kind of like Zawada in GPPs. I think that he's shifty and crafty on the ground. I like how against Danny Roberts, he was able to try to get a couple of submissions in early. And I think a big turning point in that fight is early in that first round, he went for a trip and wound up on bottom. If he ends up on top there, I think he winds up winning that fight. I thought he won the fight anyway, but I think he winds up winning that fight. And I think Danny Roberts really gasses. Jiang Li, if you remember from that last fight that he had against Matthews, I believe it was, he basically was about to get finished, and I poked him to stay in the fight. So take it for what it's worth, but I think he's right for an upset here. Yadong Song, Vince Morales. Are we all going Yadong Song? Ty, what do you think here?
Yeah, I think this is a pretty easy, straightforward play. I don't know if you can bet him at minus 425, but I am looking to put that in some parlays, maybe with Mueller and probably Holland.
Yeah, and not for nothing, but at minus 420, minus 425, there's actually some odds value with his DraftKings price. So you can actually get he's a pretty good play on DraftKings anyway, but there's some odds value with that price because he's not the highest priced guy on the card here.
Well, and one thing that's interesting right now is most sites he's around minus 425 to 435. If you still get him, if you have Bovada, right now he's only minus 360, so you might as well take advantage of that line because he is going to win the fight. Right there, you're pretty much getting an extra 90 points on that one. They haven't adjusted their line yet.
Yeah, and again, we're going into the co-main event here. 2 fights left. Alistair Overeem and Sergey Pavlovich. I'll take this one because I do have a pretty strong lean. But I actually went into the tape study for this fight, and I thought I was going to see Pavlovich really look great. I thought I was going to be all over Pavlovich. Didn't know what the odds were. Didn't know what the DraftKings prices were. Then when I looked at everything and I saw where everything was, I was kind of shocked because I favor Overeem, and I didn't think I was going to favor Overeem. He's been knocked out. Curtis Blaydes basically finished him with some elbows last time out. So again, he's a little iffy with his recent performances. By the same token, I think Pavlovich is going to make this a striking affair. I don't think he's going to use any of his Greco-Roman wrestling, as Ty kind of educated me on the differences in the wrestling disciplines. But for the most part, I think Overeem's going to be able to keep distance, make this a striking affair. If by all means, if Pavlovich connects on a big punch, he can definitely finish this fight. But I think Overeem's in a great spot to win this fight. So I do like Overeem. I haven't made a play on him yet, but I may. But Ty, what do you think here?
Yeah, so I'm actually not gonna be placing a bet on this. I'm gonna have exposure to both sides on DraftKings, and personally, that's gonna be enough for me on this play. I don't really have a good feel for it one way or another. I'm leaning towards Overeem, but not enough to actually put a bet down. I'm going to have slightly more exposure to him on DraftKings, but I'll have exposure to both sides.
All right, so that brings us to our main event and our last fight of the night: Curtis Blaydes and Francis Ngannou. Again, come on over to the Quant Edge. We love Curtis Blaydes. If you go to DraftKings, look at his point totals for some of his fights. He's a big scorer. You know, he takes people down. He advances. He uses his ground and pound. And I think he's going to be a big scorer here, and I think he's going to get the win. So Curtis Blaydes is my favorite to win this fight. Ngannou is scary. You know, he's got that big right hand, but he's coming off two losses in a row, and I think he's doubting himself a little bit. And again, when you get in that octagon, that cage closes, the last thing you want to do is doubt yourself. So I got Curtis Blaydes here, but Tyler, what do you think last fight of the night?
Yeah, so I think I'm pretty much all in on Blaydes. Right now, he's minus 230 on most sites, minus 210 on Bovada. I kind of like that line. I'm hoping that it dips under 200, but after weigh-ins, I might wait on it just because I don't think it's going to go up too much from there. But that's definitely one that I'm keying in, and I'm hoping to get it under minus 200.
Yeah, so that brings us through UFC Fight Night 141, Ngannou versus Blaydes 2. We're both on Blaydes, and happy Thanksgiving. The good thing about Thanksgiving this week is not only is it a time of giving with your family, it's also a time of giving with daily fantasy sports. And the Quant Edge is giving away all its content for free this week. So you can get Tyler's article, best bet and best underdog play. You can get my article for DraftKings DFS. You can also get our podcast, our DraftKings podcast. All you need to do is go to thequantedge.com, create a username, and you're going to get all the free content for this week. By all means, if you do want to get a subscription after this week, you can use code word Brews or code word UFC. Just to mention another one of our sponsors, H2 Bro Water. Eat Clean Bro is one of my sponsors that takes care of me over here in Jersey. Tyler's going to talk about another sponsor that's doing some free content and some free I guess it's a squares contest this week, Ty, right?
Yeah, I kind of touched on it earlier. Sign up through our link to Fantasy Factor. They're doing a Thanksgiving tournament, or not a Thanksgiving tournament, but a Thanksgiving office pool. They're giving away $100,000 and some other prizes. Definitely check that out. If you sign up through our link, you get a free entry. And right now they're doing a bunch of single entry tournaments. So if you're struggling versus competition on DraftKings or FanDuel, and people are just putting 150 lineups in there and you want some easier competition, try Fantasy Factor out. Like right now I made a lineup in like 5 minutes tonight for the NBA, and I'm in first place in their $4 GPP right now. I'm up by 22 points over the next guy. My team's just absolutely smashing, and it's pretty much been like this nightly. So if you have a good system and you're a decent player, you're gonna win money on this site. So do yourself a favor and check them out. We're gonna post the link in the description. I tweeted it out earlier. We'll tweet it out from the podcast site. Get in there before the games tomorrow, so that way you could take advantage of the squares.
No doubt. So again, happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the week with your family. Get some free content on the Quant Edge, and we got some good GPP contests coming up over the next few weeks. I'm sure there's going to be a big contest for UFC. What is it, Ty? 233 is Toronto, or 231 is Toronto?
I think 232 is the one that Jones is on.
That's the one in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
Which is the one? Which is Ortega?
I think it's 231.
Holloway. 231 in Toronto.
Did you see the fight that just got added on 232?
No, I didn't.
Volkanovski's fighting Chad Mendes.
That's a good fight.
Yeah,
that's going to be a wrestling heavy affair with some big right hand hooks. Without doing any tape study. That's a tough fight.
I thought I was going to make it out to Vegas. I can't get the days off work, so I'm not going to be there for that one.
Yeah, and again, I'm gonna have my press credential for the first fight at at UFC in Brooklyn. That's going to be on ESPN Plus or ESPN Plus. Is it on Plus? I'm not sure if it's on ESPN2 or ESPN Plus. But that first fight card for the new year is going to be on ESPN. I'm really looking forward to covering that for MMA India.
Before we go, there's one other fight that's happening this weekend that a lot of people are not talking about, and that's the Golden Boy MMA card. Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz 3. So they're currently having a Black Friday sale on it. I seen for the next, I think, couple hours or whatever. They're doing a $20 pay-per-view, which tells me that they're struggling with tickets and sales and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and so I posted out a tweet when this fight first got announced to jump on Chuck at plus 250 or whatever he was, because it was free money. I couldn't have been more wrong on that. I've seen some of Chuck's sparring. I've seen some of Chuck's sparring since then, and he looks terrible. Tito's fought more recently. Both of them look like they're in great shape physically, but Tito looks like he's on the right kind of steroids. Chuck looks like he's on the bodybuilder steroids that slow you down. His sparring footage his mitt work footage has looked terrible. Minus 260 on Tito. I'm gonna jump in on that personally, and I think that he's gonna stop Chuck. I just think that Chuck is way past where he needs to be, and I just don't think that he's gonna do much in this fight.
Yeah, I kind of felt that way the whole way, to be honest with you. I kind of felt like
and the first two fights, Chuck just put it on him, and I felt that he had the mental edge. I didn't know how bad his body was broken, and it's become evident pretty much watching him even hit pads. And I seen him throw a kick the other day, and it was just terrible. It's kind of sad to see, but at the same time, when I'm playing with my money, I like seeing it because it tells me how the fight's going to go.
You know what, Ty? By the same time, Oscar De La Hoya involved in MMA. Yeah. It's got to tell you he's promoting guys that just shouldn't be doing this, right? I mean, if anyone was that serious about MMA, they wouldn't be doing it with Oscar De La Hoya. That's the way I look at it. I think he's kind of a clown.
And De La Hoya and Tito have been friends for years, so
yeah,
I think there's definitely
it's the setup. I'm calling the setup. I'm from Jersey. I can see a setup when I see one.
Yeah, I mean, not only a setup, it just looks like a broken guy fighting a guy that still could actually wrestle.
No, I agree. Yeah, I mean, I'm staying away from it. I'm not even spending $20 in the pay-per-view. I'll wait to somebody tweets out some kind of a little video meme about how he gets finished. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I haven't seen the rest of the fight card, but I'm gonna check it out. And for $20, it depends on what I'm doing Saturday. I might check it out.
All right, so I just pounded one beer. I'm gonna pound another one right now. Get myself something to eat. Ty, happy Thanksgiving to you. Happy Thanksgiving to all the subs and everybody who supports Brews and Bets.
All right, happy Thanksgiving.